That for me is the mantra for the country, and that's the way to move forward as one indivisible country. Thank you so very much. Like I said earlier on, my co-hosts for today will be Honorable Busheye Hajia Rekia Bello Abubakar, Udeme Ukwe, Sheung Bayewu, also known as Boyo, and Toyi Olayinka. They will be the ones assisting me as we go along for another 2 hours of engagement with VVIP today. I wish to inform you that this conference is streaming live across social media and especially on Ben TV, courtesy of the CEO of the first Nigerian and African TV digital channel, Alastair Shoyode. Many thanks to you, sir, for your support and assistance always. Just looking through the whole now, I can see the usual, both new and the usual participants from across the globe. I can see the people from America, people from Canada, South Africa, Russia, Belarus, and the rest of them, Ghana, Benin Republic, and the rest of them. Thank you ever so much for always participating in this in our weekly program. Your presence here is never underrated. Thank you so very much. Towards the end of the conference, I will be acknowledging the presence of some of our leaders and stakeholders in the house. In the meantime, on behalf of the team behind the Renewed Hope Global Town Hall Virtual Conference, I welcome you all to this session. As usual, I'll be reading out some new updates. We now have our website. I don't have the right something with me at the moment. I probably seem to have lost it, but before the end of this program, I'll let you to have it, even though I announced it last week, but for some reason, it's not in my queue at the moment. So I will let you have it, but be that as it may, we now have an official website for the Renewed Hope Global Town Hall Virtual Conference. We also have a WhatsApp group called the Renewed Hope UK. This is a channel that is meant to give those in the group an opportunity to have first-hand information about our activities and especially about our special guests and VVIPs. Any participant that is interested in joining the WhatsApp group is at liberty to leave their details in the chat room, and we will forward to you the joining link. We have created an email address for participants as well, and members of the WhatsApp group to send in their questions, which, as usual, we will be forwarding to our special guests prior to appearing on the virtual conference. The first part of the conference will be devoted to answering those questions before we proceed to the question and answer session. The email address in question is info@renewedhopeglobalconference.com. I repeat, email address info@renewedhopeglobalconference.com. It will be posted on it is posted on the chat room for participants to copy for future use. There's also a dedicated telephone number for the purpose of sending your questions before the conference. The telephone number is +44 7586 951 574. I repeat, +44 7586 951 574. This will be also will be posted in chat room for interested persons. And I must add that the number is reachable only through WhatsApp. That telephone number is reachable only through WhatsApp. And for those who has shown interest in the books, a couple of weeks ago we hosted the DG and CEO of the Energy Commission, Dr. Mustafa Abdullahi, about a month ago, and he showed us about 3 books that he promised he was going to leave with us for anybody who is interested. I'm glad to announce that he has delivered those books to us. And those books are, one, the Renewed Energy Roadmap. The second one is the National Energy Policy and National Energy Master Plan. We have all these books in our kitty at the moment. So anybody who is interested should please send your interest through the telephone number that I've just announced, which is +44 7586 951 574. Or you can send it through our email, which is info@renewedhopeglobalconference.com. I repeat, info@renewedhopeglobalconference.com. If you can send to either of those two, your interest in, if you want the three, you can name them. If you want maybe one or the other, you can name them, but then we need your full details, your name, your address, your telephone number, but please be informed that there will be a fee to pay for packaging and postage. That's a fee to be paid for packaging and postage. If you want to know any of these details, please call the telephone number that I mentioned earlier, which is +44 7586 951 574, or send an email to info@renewedhopeglobalconference.com. This is there for you to collect whenever you're ready. When you send your details there, you'll be told how much it's going to cost you for the packaging and the postage, depending on where you want the books to be delivered to. The joining link for our WhatsApp group will be posted on social media, as well as so that interested participants who likes to join us can use it. It's going to be on the chat room as well. But please, as soon as you join, please make sure that you click on the icon to let us know that you want us to be sending you updates as at when they are available. Today, as usual, we have in our midst one of the top VVIP from the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who in the next 2 hours will be taking us through the activities, achievements, and challenges of the ministry he heads as the Honorable Minister. Our topic for today is Ministerial Edition, delivering on the Renewed Hope agenda. The topic once again is Ministerial Edition, delivering on the Renewed Hope agenda. That being said, I would like to proceed, but before then, please let me run through the rules of engagement of the virtual conference. All participants will remain muted until they have the floor to join in the discussion of the day. And secondly, any participant who wishes to participate by asking a question from our guest of honor should please raise their hand by using the hand icon at the bottom of the screen. When you are given the floor to contribute, one of the co-hosts will unmute you, and please do have your video on as we want to see who is speaking to us. And firstly, introduce yourself and act where where you are joining us from, followed by your question. In order to ensure every participant have equal opportunity to participate in our deliberations, today we will be making a detour from the usual by giving every participant 2 minutes to speak. I'll tell you the reason for that in a minute. Usually it's 1 minute, but today we want to give you 2 minutes to contribute to this conference. And please, like I said earlier on, please go straight to the point so we can have time to give to others, a chance to also participate. And please be advised that the system is programmed to mute upon reaching the maximum minutes allowed. So do not be offended if this happens whilst you're still speaking. It simply means the time allowed is up, and we will then go to the next participant in the queue. You can chat to the host in the chat room, and my co-host will respond to your inquiries. When the time comes, we'll be taking maybe 3 to 4 questions from participants. Then we yield the floor to our special guest of honor to respond to those questions. Once again, I welcome you all to this Renewed Hope Global Town Hall Virtual Conference. As you all know, this platform was set up as a veritable vehicle for interaction between Nigerians across the globe and our leaders in Nigeria. These are the people that hold the apron strings of our country and are steering the ship of our fatherland with a view to enlightening our people regarding the inner workings of the administration of the day. And today, as usual, we will be exploring another segment of President Tinubu's vision and policies in an interactive interview with one of the big shots within the government who will be dissecting President Tinubu's administration, shedding light on its significant achievements and forward-looking plans as encapsulated in the renewed hope agenda upon which the president campaigned, and we all gave him the mandate as well as the golden keys to Aso Villa on the 25th of February 2023. Like I said earlier on, that just permit me to digress a little bit. Today, we will be introducing a new segment to how we run things. We will be giving one special participant what we call a green card. And what that means is that whatever time that is allotted to participant to speak, one special person will be given double the time to speak. And this is how that person will be chosen. Because we now have an email for you to send in your questions, that person, that lucky person will be chosen from those who have sent in their questions prior to the conference, not from those who came on that day. You have to have sent in your questions through the email, which is, let me go back to it again and read it out, even though it's going to be on the chat room, but just for information's sake, the email address is info@renewedhopeglobalconference.com. We want you to send in your question prior to the day of the conference. As soon as you see our e-flyer and you know the topic of the day, you are at liberty to send in your questions. And in doing so, if you want to partake, if you want to be one of the lucky golden tickets recipients, you have to, one, said in the email that you want to partake in the golden ticket for the day. What will then happen is if it's just you, the team, or if you have more than one, the team behind the Renewed Hope Global Town Hall meeting will go through the contents of the email that you sent in. Then we have our parameters for choosing who will give that chance, because we want whatever it is you are talking about to be very, very synonymous with the topic of the day. It has to be something that has to do with the topic of the day, and the content must be rich in nature, so much so that we know, because we want to see if our special guests will be able to take one or two things from what you are saying, like maybe in form of ideas to move the Renewed Hope agenda forward. These are the criteria that we will be using. But you need to send in your question through the email first, prior to, and that email must reach us latest by the Wednesday of that week. We have to have received your email by Wednesday of that very week, so that the team will be able to sit on it on Thursday and to decide whom to give the golden ticket. And whoever is giving the golden ticket, if every participant has 1 minute to speak, that's the golden ticket person will have 2 minutes to speak. If, like today, you have 2 minutes, the person who is giving that golden ticket will have 4 minutes to speak, and we are only going to have just one person per session, only one person per week. So try and make sure that you get your question in as soon as you can, so that we can the team can then sit on it, and the ballot for whoever is chosen is going to be chosen by blind ballots. By that I mean nobody knows who is choosing who. We're just going to put it in the basket, and we look, and whoever has the lion whoever has the lion numbers of likes from the team will get the day. So I hope we all understand that. So in case if you see us calling somebody and giving them more time to speak, then you understand why. It is not Udoro Council, as some people would like us to believe. It is just simply that because we have listened to the feedback that we've been getting, and certain people have been kind of disillusioned that they are being cut off when they are still speaking. We understand that bit, and in order not to disenfranchise anyone, that is why we are brought in this, to make sure that at least we give one person per week that chance to be able to. But then, like I said, whatever you're going to say must be very, very to the core of the subject matter for the day. That is the key. You must be coming with something unique that we feel that is unique, that the special guest will take something from. If you want to follow it up with a write-up after that, you are free to do that, and we'll gladly submit it to the special guest, who will then respond to you. Put in your email address as well, so that they can respond to you directly. So that's what we will be doing from today. It will start from today. So I will be choosing at random somebody today, and from next week it's going to be same thing as you go along. So I hope we all understand that. So now, before I do the formal introduction of our special guest of honor, let me run through an introduction of the ministry he heads, which is the Ministry of Information and National Orientation. So let me go through the profile of Alhaji Mohammed Idris, FNIPR. Alhaji Mohammed Idris, FNIPR, was sworn in as the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation on August 21st, 2023, as a result of his appointment by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. His pedigree in broadcasting, press, public relations, and advertising over 3 decades indicates his strong competence for the position. Alhaji Idris received his first and second degrees in English Studies from Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto, and Bayero University, Kano, respectively. He established Blueprint, a national newspaper, WEFM radio station, and Rapid Television in Abuja during his career. He is a notable player in the National Institute of Public Relations, African Public Relations Association, Public Relations Consultants Association of Nigeria, and Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria. He owns Bifocal Communications, a leading public relations and communications consultancy service serving local and transnational corporations. His experience in human resource management, talent management, and an eye for detail will be valuable in this important position. As part of his social responsibility, the minister established the Mohammed Idris Malagi MIM Foundation, where he channels his philanthropic activities and touches the lives of many citizens. Considering his many qualities, he contested for the gubernatorial seat in Niger State under the All People's Congress, which gave him immense political goodwill within the party and led to his appointment as Director of Strategic Communications for the Tinubu-Shettima Presidential Campaign Council. He was appointed the title of Kakaki Nupe by the 8th Sunupe, His Royal Majesty Alhaji Yahya Abubakar. Teacher, team leader, and team player. Alhaji Abubakar Idris, Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, is an all-round media professional, image merchant, and grassroots politician. In a nutshell, that's the profile of our VVIP for today, our Honorable Minister Mohammed Idris, FNIPR. However, I have just been duly informed that the Honorable Minister will join us at 5 p.m. as he is presently inspecting a project on an impromptu presidential directive. But however, all his aides are already online. They have joined us. His aides have joined us. Some of his directors are here. Some of his directors are here with us at the moment now. But we will, in the interim, be discussing. We will open the floor in a few minutes now to take questions from participants in readiness for the minister to come. This is just to save us time so that when he comes, we will be fielding the questions to him. So anybody that has any question to ask, we will give you 2 minutes to ask your questions. And one of my co-hosts by name Honorable Udeme will be taking notes of those questions. And when the minister joins us, I will yield the floor to Honorable Udeme, who will then be asking your questions to the minister. Of course, if there is any follow-up questions after that, we will yield the floor to you again for you to be able to ask those questions. So between in the next 30 minutes now, we will be yielding. We have the time now for those of us who has questions to ask to our minister to raise up their hands now. We will give you the floor for you have 2 minutes to let us have your questions. We will note it down, and when the minister comes, we will be relaying your question to the minister with your name and where you're calling from, which of course you have to tell us as soon as you have the floor, and you have on your video. You first of all tell us your name and where you're calling from, so that whoever is noting down your question will have all your full details, so that by the time the minister joins, then your question will be relayed to the minister. The reason for that is so that we can save time, because we have only 2 hours to go. So which means by the time the minister joins at 5 o'clock, we have just 1 hour to do everything. So of course we will the questions will be read to the minister in 3s and 4s, so that he can deal with them quickly. Then if there is any follow-up question that you have too, you do the same thing again by raising your hands, and we will call you and give you the floor to ask your questions. So in the meantime, please permit me to welcome all the directors who are on this program to stand in for the minister. We all welcome you because there are a couple of them. So I don't want to mention names. They know who they are. They are with us, and I've seen a couple of them already when they joined. So thank you so much for representing the minister. I'm sure you will be taking you two will be taking notes of the questions being asked by the participants, because the ministry that you guys are heading is so important to Nigerians. And a couple of people have called me before this program to say they want to be part of this, and I'm sure that by the time the minister comes, who from what I've known about him, is a public relations guru, which again explains the reason why he was chosen as the Minister for Information. I'm sure he will do them good justice. So in the meantime, I think one of the person that we want to give the green card has already raised their hand. So I will call that person first. Then we will then go to other participants. The person, because we are given two minutes today, that person will have 4 minutes within which to have the floor and discuss whatever it is they want to put to the minister by the time he joins. So please permit me now to invite one of our leaders from South Africa by name Engineer Bola Babalide. Please unmute Engineer Bola Babalide and give him 4 minutes because he has the green card for today. So that sorry, the golden card. Sorry, I keep saying green. I don't know why. He has the golden card to ask his questions now. So he's got 4 minutes, whilst other participants will have 2 minutes. Thank you so very much, Engineer Babalide. You have the floor now. Thank you.
Yeah. Good afternoon. I'm trying to do the video, but the video is not coming up. I'm trying to, but I can continue speaking.
Okay, yeah, you can. Okay, yeah, it's coming now.
Wonderful thing you've been doing. So I thank you for extending the period I will speak. Officials from Ministry of Information, the Department of National Orientation Agency. My talk today is a comment and suggestion on how we'll be able to improve the work of NOA. And we realize that we have a paper called explainer that Larry Saunilu and some of the people from NOA normally send to us, and I always go through that explainer. And I believe a lot of information on that explainer, but basically but I'm really concerned about the work of National Orientation Agency. A National Orientation Agency is not about dissemination of information. It's about, we believe, it's about the changing of the mindset of Nigeria in a positive way, of Nigerians in a positive way. We have a lot that we can partner with NOA to do it better. They are wonderful, they are doing wonderfully well, but partnering with us in diaspora can add more value to what they are doing. Because as we know, a lot have generated in Nigeria so badly that even some mothers celebrate their Yahoo Yahoo boys. In Ikorodu, we have Yahoo Yahoo Boys Mothers Association. It's as bad as that. So what we're trying to do is that we have a package that we can send to work, through our chairman here, Honorable J.K. Adebola, if you are so much interested in what we have to contribute. Number one, let's take, for example, in the area of transportation, we believe that to improve or to reorientate the psyche of our drivers, especially commercial drivers in Nigeria, we need to do a lot. We need to go and do a lot of campaign. We need to go to Federal Road Safety. We need to go to VIO. We need to go to LASMA to educate these people about the decency in driving, how to moderate their way of driving. Take, for example, somebody waiting at the zebra crossing, and you don't wait for them. You don't wait for them. And also, if you wait for somebody on the zebra crossing to pass, the people at the back will be hooting, disturbing you that say you have done the wrong thing. Then also, sometimes when you get to the traffic light, there are places that you can turn to the right. You must turn to the right. Some people that are going forward, that are going straight, will still be on that road that they will deprive the people going to the right from turning. These are things that we need to campaign about. Most of these people that are carrying driver license, they don't even do tests. They go and buy it, they give it to them. We need to do a lot of information dissemination. We need to do a lot of information to tell these people what and what is right. The dignity in driving. And for example, also, you get to a junction, somebody wants to come to the main road. You wait for one person to pass so that another person can give chance to the next person. They will not allow you to go. We need to talk about this. That is that. And also, let's go into our market women. Our market women will buy something for 2,000, they want to sell it for 10,000. And by doing that, let's say somebody is selling pepper. Then you buy pepper for 2,000 and you're selling for 10,000. Definitely, you need to buy gari, you need to buy beans, you need to buy rice and other things. You need to buy palm oil. So as you put your own, other will put their own. But if we try as much as possible to disseminate information, to tell people that come, gain in such a way that other people will not inflate their product. Like you spend 2,000, you gain 500. Definitely, the amount, if you pay 10,000, the amount you are going to buy other items will be expensive. You may not even be able to buy them. But if we encourage them to come, the amount of profit you are putting on this thing, let it be reasonable. Don't exploit people. So if Gary seller didn't exploit, and the rice seller didn't exploit, and the bean seller didn't exploit, definitely we are going to have, we cannot do price control. We have to appeal to the conscience of the people. Honestly, we need to do this. Then on the
does that mean the time is up? Or maybe it's just a network issue? Well, since we can't seem to hear him anymore now, I think it's safe to go to the next. Thank you so very much anyway for. Thank you so very much. Okay, are you back on now?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So I was saying that, say for example, our people in diaspora, in UK, even in South Africa, most of the event centers are owned by the Indians. And we are the one that we do party a lot. And why can't we collaborate among the people in diaspora, get event center? You know, sometimes if you want to build in an estate, in South Africa. Some people will ask, how many Nigerians are in this estate? If they know that we have a lot of Nigerians, they do not buy their property there because they don't want to mingle with Nigerians. But in South Africa, we have Indian community, Chinese community, Pakistani, even Somali community, the Ghanaian community, but we don't have any. We need to let our people know that there is dignity, there is prosperity in working together, having cooperative, So we need to also disseminate this thing to our people. We have a package that we can present and make the work of National Registration Agency easier and target exactly what they're supposed to do. Because, what actually they're supposed to do in that department is reorientation of the present things we are doing, how we can do it better. We have to be proud of Nigeria. We have to show, a love for our fatherland. Hello? I think this thing is smoothing. Somebody is muting me. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, we are hearing you, sir.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, we can
hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. And as this thing is misbehaving, I just want to let you know that we can add value to National Registration Agency, and which we can put in a black and white, and we can get this thing across to the relevant authority through the chairman, J.K. Adebola, so that we be able to from diaspora. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you so very much, Engineer Baride, for that extensive elaboration on the best way to add value to the National Orientation Agency. Like you promised, please package whatever it is you got into whether a booklet form or whichever way you want to do it, and send it to me through the usual channel. Now we have email address, which is the info at the just give me a second, info@renewedhopeglobalconference.com, info@renewedhopeglobalconference.com. If you package it into a booklet form and send it to me, I can guarantee you it will get to the minister. It will get to the Director General of the NOA via the minister, and I'm sure they will do the needful. Now, this is one of the reasons why we said we set up this this platform, so that we'll bridge the gap between the leaders and Nigerians across the globe. Because a lot of Nigerians have ideas that we want to pass on, especially those of us living in diaspora. Because we live in a society where things do work, and because we've been living here for so long, we've seen a lot, and we have a lot of ideas to pass on to our leaders back home. And because prior to now, there was no direct access to our leaders, that's one of the reasons why we set this up, so that this will be like a platform for any Nigerian anywhere across the globe. So long as you join and participate in our conference, you have every right. You a couple of times, even some of our special guests here has given us their contact address. Sorry, I have a bit of an emergency now, and I would like Honorable Gushe to please take over straight away from me now. Thank you so much.
Good evening, sir, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, sir and ma'am, ladies and gentlemen. You are highly welcome to today's conference, and I appreciate your contributions all about. By the way, my name is Jacob Oguncheye. I'm one of the individuals on this platform that will be assisting our host, Barrister J.K. Adebola. And I want to again appreciate our leader from South Africa, Engineer Babarinde. Thank you for the contributions, and I hope Dr. Mr. Udeme has taken note of the the contribution. Then again, I mean, we have some hands on, some hands are up for now. So probably I'll just quickly go to Madam Anita D to please unmute and have the floor for the next 3 minutes, please. 3 minutes, please. Thank you. Madam Anita D, please have the floor now.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Gunshe. I hope you guys can hear me.
Yes, loud and clear.
No, because then you will have to you'll pick up some background noise as well, because I'm at a wedding. However, I actually want to just sort of reiterate what both Barrister Adebola and Honorable Babarinde had said, which is the importance of this ministry. Information dissemination is actually one of the greatest things. And, in fact, like the lack of communication, the communication barrier that had been, the communication gap that people had, as actually, there's a lot of misconceptions about even this administration. Why? Because people don't really know what is going on. They don't know what is happening. And I'm sure you know this. At the same time, because of social media, we have a lot of fake news circulating all over the place, and we have some people not playing opposition properly and just give negative information out there, and people actually are not aware of the fact that yes, the renewed hope agenda that this administration they've actually been putting all these things in place. And every single one of the 8 steps has actually been, all these issues are being addressed. But because the people sort of have a feeling that, oh, the president is disenfranchised, they feel there's a part of the country that is cut off. It's only selected few, it's only the elites that have access to this, not realizing that everybody has access, every single body, every single person. So as personally, I'm happy that this is going on, and I will continue to support any way I can. And I will continue to say thank you to everybody that actually puts this together, that make sure that it happens, that make sure that information actually reaches people out there. Everybody knows what is going on, what they're entitled to, and the fact that they actually have access to every single thing going on in Nigeria. It is not elitist. We are all equal. Everybody has access to the resources of that great country of ours. And like Honorable Babarinde said, take it or leave that. So many people in the diaspora, someone in all fairness, be given wrong information from people in Nigeria, but who actually want to contribute to what is going on in the country as well. When I say contribute, I mean even I'm not talking about money now. I'm talking about even their experience, not just. So it's like, oh, okay, you know what? I have experience in this field. I would love to contribute. A positive contribution so that we can take the country forward. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, Madam Anita, for your time, and thank you for me at least for sparing your time despite the fact that you are busy over there. You still take your time to address us on this present moment. We want to appreciate you, want to appreciate your commitment. At least that it's a sign of commitment for you to have been able to reach out to us. Yeah, let me take it back as we have said earlier regarding information dissemination as far as the government is concerned. Honestly, we should be fair to this ministry. In one way or the other, the ministry as the ministry and the presidency in particular, they have done a lot of things to ensure that the information from the federal level are disseminated directly to the people. But again, no, it is about people itself, but mindset sometimes. It's for one thing for me to give you an information, it's for you to say, oh, my information is fake because you are not benefiting directly from that information. And that is where the issues happen sometimes. In fairness, they have been trying, they have done different things from the ministry, in fact, different ministries have their ways of communicating to the people. You go to the Ministry of Sports, see it every day, nearly every time, see press releases going out about what the ministry is doing. Just go to the Ministry of Solid Resources, resources. You see the way information are being passing out on a daily basis about what the ministry is doing. Go to other sectors, go to other ministries. You will see what is happening. But one thing is about we Nigerians ourselves. I think the mindset of Nigerians ourselves It's one thing that we need to work about, we need to work on. One thing is to have information across over there, and somebody say, oh, it is fake, it is fake. When you see it is real, and you say it is still fake because you are not benefiting on that particular information. To you, you just perceive that because it's not coming to you directly now, it becomes a fake. That is where we need to work on ourselves. That is where we need to guide our mind and see where we can go with this kind of information. Yeah, I want to say again, the platform is still open. If you have anything, if you want to contribute anything, please just signify your interest and raise up your hand from the application and just we can just call upon you. So let us, as I was discussing before, the ministry is, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the people with this of information, they are doing their best as well. They are trying their best to ensure that they are getting the information. To go through different platforms, social media, even the normal conventional media, I mean radio, television, you will still see the voice of the president talking every day. And take it or leave it. Even from the presidency itself, go from Chief Nanuga to our Chief Ajuri Galeni, go to, I mean, see every day. I mean, go to Honorable Abdulaziz that was with us last week. Last 2 weeks, sorry. They were able to dish out things that the government is doing. But again, it is one thing for us to take it as we know that yes, this is actually being done. But sometimes again, let us not just blame the people for everything. But sometimes as well, you might add that some things are happening and it's not reaching down to the poor. That is where I think we as the presidency now need to work on, the ministry in particular, need to work on those areas where when you do something, the people in the down, the people in the lowest rank, be able to have a benefit of what is going on. Thank you very much. Maybe before I move on, I will quickly call on Mr. Somebody. I would have loved to call on this man, OPPO A5 2020. Unfortunately, I couldn't call you now because I want you to put on your name. So I'm probably so I will know the person I'm talking to. If you can change your names, please, OPPO A5 2020. That's what your name is reading on the platform here. And I think I can see your answer, but I'll be happy to have your answer, to have your name changed to a real name. Then we can call upon you. And maybe before you, by the time you change your name, can I just have Mr. Udeme Upe, you could just continue the chat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Jacob Ogunshe. Thank you so much for that. My name is Udeme Upe, one of the co-hosts for this global virtual conference. It's really fascinating that today's virtual conference it's actually talking about focusing on the Ministry of Information, which is really massive in terms of one of the core ministries in the cabinet. It's that massive because information is key. We saw just a few days ago at the inauguration in South Africa, where just a little bit of fake news, a little bit of misinformation can just spread like wildfire. And I believe that one thing that was done quickly, which the Ministry of Information, special advisors in the media team for the presidency, and even individuals, what was done was to counter such information, was to counter such fake news, was to counter those kinds of things that naturally shouldn't be at the front burner of the of so many things that are happening even in the country. That is how key information is. That is how key the ministry is. That's how key, Engineer Bola Babarinde has, opened up the conversation today, opened up about, how best, the Ministry of Information and even the National Orientation National Orientation Agency, how they can have that synergy, how information is disseminated, how people should now start, well, the agencies should now start looking at change in terms of changing the mindset of people, not just dissemination of information, but changing the mindset of Nigerians, trying to empower people by educating them, specifically, how we approach law and order in the country. So it is a massive ministry, and like our chief host barrister J.K. Adibola said, the special guest Alhaji Mohammed Idris FNIPR is I would say one of our best ministers who I believe has been, is fit for that ministry, because, there with being, a communicator, with being, that minister, for information and national orientation, you speak less because you need to understand that just going out and just talking would have a lot of ramifications. So gathering of information, gathering of a lot of things, understanding situations, understanding when to come in and when not to come in is key. And that is what Alhaji Mohammed Idris has done so well for that ministry. He doesn't just come out and, talk and, and retract, statements and all that. He does his consulting, he does his information gathering. He has, like the directors that are in this call, he has the directors there that, the special advisors, that they give him all of the key information that he now needs to use to disseminate even to Nigerians, not in Nigeria alone, but Nigerians in the diaspora. So it's very key that, we have this special guest, that is going to be coming in. And, I want to say, please do send in your questions, and we would, as much as possible, tailor those questions even to the minister when he's going to join us in a few minutes. I'll hand back over to our amiable, Honorable Jacob Ogunshe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Demerupe. Thank you for your time again. And I think, okay, I can now say that our guest, one of the people here has changed his name to Vitus Owosu. Maybe you can just use that opportunity to call on Mr. Vitus Owosu. So please speak to us. I mean, what is the question, please, or what is the opinion? You have 3 minutes for this conversation, please. Mr. Owosu, are you there? Oh, it's like Mr. Owosu is not actually on the call anymore. I mean, probably if we come back, probably we can again have you. As my Mr. Upe has spoken earlier, and today we are having a special guest in our midst. We are expecting him to join us as soon as possible. As you all know, we are expecting the Minister of Information and National Orientation, that's His Excellency Alhaji Mohammed Idris himself, the FNIPR. We are expecting him to join us as soon as possible. And I know, I mean, we all want to hear some things about what is going on with this administration. We know the president has been in the service for the past over a year now. And we all know we want to see what has happened, because sometimes we may be hearing some things on the air, but we are not feeling it. But today, we will be hearing from the source. That's why I call on people to come and join this platform. Whatever you are doing for this, just 1 or 2 hours will not take anything away from you. Come in, come and log into this platform. Join this platform. Come and hear from the source. Come and hear from the government itself. Come and speak to power as well. This opportunity is not just common anywhere. take it or leave it. It's not common anywhere because you cannot just see yourself. I mean, for instance, it's not just something you can see that a common man is. So I'm not sorry for saying common man, but just anybody. I mean, for people to just be able to speak to the president, to minister, anytime, anything. You know, it's not common anywhere. But we, to the glory of God, we are able to have this platform for Nigerians to be able to speak their mind, able to the people at the top. And that's why I say anytime, any day, please find the time, engage yourself, please reschedule your calendar, open your diary up. I mean, for this 2 hours of intensive talk, so that you can be able to get information from the source of what is happening in Nigeria. We have done it for a few weeks ago, and we are still going to be doing it. And I can assure you that every week we will be here discussing about Nigeria, tailoring, asking ourselves of what to do, where we are going, what have we done, and what we are going to do. And I want all of us to please try our best to key into this to this event to make it better, so that we can be able to know. I mean, there will be no way any form of fake news be able to influence our opinions. This is very key. We need to be able to, when we hear from the source, no matter amount of fake news out there, will be able to, it will not be enough to be able to influence your opinion because you have had the news from the source. So, I mean, you know, the source cannot be lying to you. And that is where I call on Nigerians, wherever they are, across the world, from Nigeria, from the UK, to US, to all over the world. So please find time. 2 hours will not be too much for us. Key into this system and let us speak to ourselves. Again, I go back to before I call Mr. Upe, I will call on Mr. Vitus Uwosu to please have the floor. Now, because we have a little bit of 3 hours more, I will give you 2 minutes to speak to your mind and let us hear your views, please. Are you still there? Again, he has gone, but okay. I'm Mr. Oppo A5 2020. Honestly, I would love to call you, but again, I would love to know who we are talking about. This by name. You can just put your name there, then we can call upon you and you can just speak to us. We want to call you, want to have your view, want to know what you want to say to us. But again, please just adjust the system and put your name there, then we can call you next. If I can have the view of Mr. Udeme Upe, that would be nice. Thank you. I can see your answer, Mr. Udeme. And if that is actually real of you, okay. If the answer is that, sorry. Okay. Let me continue this one. I'm just trying to tell us about where we are here, where we are today. We want to see how Nigerians can flow from how the information should flow from top to down. We are not saying Nigerians, the government of the day is not doing well, but we are just want to see how can we add to it? How can we add to what is happening? I can assure you now that even on this platform, I can tell you that we have the Minister of Information and the Election of Nigeria even on this platform now. And this is a very great thing for us. I want to advise us to please let us use the next few minutes to welcome our special guest today. Our special guest, my host will say, VVVIP. I will call him as well, VVVIP today. A very, very, very important personality today. We are welcome you, sir, Alhaji Mohammed Idris, FNIPR, that's our Minister of Information and National Orientation. I know he's joining us, he has joined us, and I can see people walking behind, making in one of the co-hosts so that he can have the floor to himself tonight. But before he comes in, I want to see if anybody again still have any question. You can send your question to these 2 emails, to this one email, info@renewedhopeglobalconference.com. Please don't forget, send your email to us. We will read it, we will have it, and we ensure that your information, your questions, or your contributions to get to the person you want to get to. Even if it's after we have had the event, you still have your opportunity. We will still get your question to anybody who you want us to get the question to. Then again, we have our WhatsApp, our mobile number. Just WhatsApp on the please. It's +44 75 86 95 1574. Again, +44 75 86 95 1574. This number is just
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Honorable Jacob Ogunsheye. Like we rightly said, Honorable Ogunsheye has said, the minister is online now. The minister is now online. I want to specially welcome Alhaji Mohammed Idris, FNIPR, the Honorable Minister, Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation. Today's topic is overcoming challenges and delivering on the renewed hope agenda. My name is Udeme Ukpe. You have the floor, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us. If you can give us a brief about, the overcoming the challenges, delivering on the renewed hope agenda. Thank you so much, sir. Can we please unmute the Honorable Minister?
Am I on now?
Yes, sir. You are on now, sir. You are on now, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for creating this opportunity for those of us who are here and those of you who are outside there to interact for the good of our country. Let me also thank you for your faith in the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and thank you for all the patience and perseverance that all Nigerians are showing, those at home and abroad, towards the policies and programs of the president. I want to especially extend those thank you remarks to all of you. First, let me say that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu became president, as we all know, on the 29th of May, 2023. And one of the key things he did coming into office was he took two quick decisions. The first one was the removal of fuel subsidy, which became a very big monster to the economy of this country. The combined effort of government and those in the private sector to ensure that this thing happens is also very much commendable. We all know that the fuel subsidy was a big monster, like I said, eating deep into our economy and making it impossible for government to free resources to put in healthcare, to put in education, to put in infrastructure, and so many other areas that require government attention. And by the way, every major leader, political leader in this country, especially those that contested the election in 2023 with Mr. President, ensured
Your
that—
Excellency, sorry, sir, Your Excellency, can you please put on your video? It's currently off, if you don't mind, sir.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes. Sorry, just a minute. My technical assistant is working on that.
Oh, thank you so much, sir.
I thought you already had me, actually.
Perfect. We have you now, sir. We have you now, sir.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you.
So
I thought you actually had me when I was talking, so sorry about that.
Yes,
now, like I was saying, that the president came into office on the 29th of May, and one of the major decisions he took was the removal of fuel subsidy, which we all know. That, of course, freed resources to put into healthcare, to put into education, to put into infrastructure that will help to renew our country. We all know that the fuel subsidy monster has been eating so much out of our purse, and it became almost impossible for government to do anything else apart from paying salaries and doing some few services. Now, I want to also put on record that even before he did that, during the campaigns, almost all the major political contenders, the PDP and the Labour Party, also said they were going to remove this fuel subsidy. So it meant that if any one of them had won, apart from our own president, the fuel subsidy will still have gone. So sometimes we get aback and get perplexed why some of them are now turning back to say the fuel subsidy removal was a problem. I think that it was an inevitable thing. Of course, you could say that government should have done this or done that, but fuel subsidy just had to go. And the fact that we're having more money now in our purses to do so many things, both at the center and at the subnationals, indicate that fuel subsidy is indeed a very good one. What is happening is that there are challenges with that. Of course, we didn't expect that those challenges wouldn't be there, and government is working hard to address those. By the way, By the May of 2029, when the president took office, it was almost impossible to have continued because the previous administration didn't even have a budgetary provision for subsidy for fuel subsidy between June of 2023. So what that meant was that whichever way you take, fuel subsidy had to go. And now that fuel subsidy left, that was a very major decision that the president had taken. Second, there was also the issue of the multiple exchange rates that we had. Almost everyone was going to the market at different levels, meaning that if you had someone in the central bank or you had someone in government who wanted to help you, you had your own exchange rate. The industrialists had their own exchange rate. Friends and associates of anybody around the central bank or around the finance sector had his own exchange rate. What that created was a very big problem for, first, our domestic investors who don't even know what is the exchange rate they were planning on for them to even invest in the country in their goods and services in the first place. Second, those who are coming to this country to come and invest were also unsure which kind of effects we had and at what point do they enter and at what point do they get out, meaning that they didn't know the exact exchange rate that will apply to them at every turn developing their business in this country. So this created a lot of confusion, and many people that would have wanted to invest in this country had to backtrack. Now, these two big decisions, of course, as big and as challenging as they were very brave decisions that the president had to take. And when that happened, you know that both the federal government and the subnationals had so much money. The subnationals, meaning the state governments and local governments, had a lot of money in their coffers, more than 50% addition, in some cases up to 100% or more money for them to put into infrastructure, to put into other critical sectors of the economy. And at the end of the day, the cushion effect that the politics should have provided, which government actually took a decision on at the onset, was becoming a problem. For example, when the fuel subsidy regime went, and the federal government now said, okay, let us give some palliatives in the short term to state governors for them to give to their people. Many of these palliatives did not actually go to those that were intended for them to go to. That was one. Second, the state governors themselves were behaving also as if it was just a ready time, and there was so much surplus. And it reminded me of what happened in the early 70s when the Udoji came about. There was so much money, and everywhere people were just spending money as they wanted. The state governors were not as prudent as the federal government, ensuring that these resources that were freed were put back into critical areas so that Nigerians can feel the impact of this fuel subsidy. But having said that, government did not stop there. It came in October of last year. There were some decisions that federal government also took when it became evident that Nigerians were feeling the impact of this fuel subsidy in some way. First, the federal government instituted what it called the wage award. You recall that on the 1st of October of 2023, in the broadcast of Mr. President, he said he was going to award every federally paid worker, meaning those who are paid from the federal treasury, a sum of 25,000 naira for the next 6 months. Now, Labour came about that time and said that money was a bit small. I was part of that negotiating committee. We came together and found a common ground. And Mr. President did numbers when they said they wanted around 50,000 or 45,000, as the case may be at that time. The numbers were done. The Minister of Finance was invited in. The Minister of Budget was there. And the President said, well, as you always say, this money belongs to Nigerians. We will spend the money, not the people. Therefore, he added another 10,000 naira to that amount, meaning that every federally paid worker now had about 35,000 naira as wage award to his salary, pending the arrival of the new wage regime that was to come around May of this year. So for the next 6 months from October of 2023, the federal government provided that. That's one. Second, the federal government also said there were about 15 million poorest of the poor families in this country. Many of them were finding it extremely difficult, especially because of the problems associated with the removal of fuel subsidy and so many other factors, to put food on the table of their people before they find their feet. And federal government now said, okay, we will give you 25,000 naira per month for 3 months, meaning 75,000 naira. This was again given, provided for 15 million families around the country. I know that there was a challenge with that because around December of last year, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs that was in charge of that had its own challenge. And you know what happened in the first week of January of 2024, when the president suspended the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, suspended also all the programs of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs for a few months. I was part of the committee, the 6-month ministerial committee that the president also appointed to look into that program and see how it can be refined, how it can be rejigged so that Nigerians could benefit more. I'm happy to say that that program has returned, even though there has not been any substantive minister appointed for the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. But I can tell you that that program of continuing to pay these 15 million families has actually resumed in the last 2 months. At the time it stopped, only about 3 million families enjoyed it. Now many more of them are enjoying that. Now, in addition to that, the federal government also initially put down over 200 billion naira into the business and the manufacturing sector. About 50 billion naira was set aside for nano businesses. 75 billion naira was also given to small-scale enterprises. Another 75 billion naira was also given to the manufacturing sector, meaning that the government committed about 200 billion naira to aid businesses to grow so that businesses will not suffer as a result of the policy it has taken. It didn't just stop there. The mainstay of our people, especially in the northern part of the country, is agriculture. Now, federal government initially put the sum of 100 billion naira into agriculture. That amount has increased. I know that the federal government took another facility of about $138 million again from Afrexim to put into agriculture, and that has resulted in the development of massive dry season farming across some states in the northern part of the country. That's for agriculture. Beyond that, the central bank also made available over 2,150,000 bags of assorted fertilizer to farmers. Now, what used to happen in the past was that when these fertilizers are available, they were given to people who had only farms in their files, farms in their handbags, and farms in their laptops. But this time around, the federal government, through the central bank, gave these fertilizers directly to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, so that they can disburse to farmers that are verified, that are only known to own farms, not a list that are staying here like us in Abuja and thinking that we have farms in our files, in our bags. So 2,150,000 assorted fertilizers provided for. Now, if you go to states like Jigawa, for example, and you see the kind of massive effort that is happening in terms of dry season farming. Now, what this means is that farmers will not just will not just go to farm once a year. And the reliance of rain-fed agriculture is now the thing of the past. In Jigawa State and in many parts of the northern part of the country, in Kebbi State, you can now go to farm 3 times a year if you want, meaning that there is a provision for you through the sophisticated agricultural process that is put on there to ensure that farmers can grow wheat, can grow rice, can grow other commercial products like hibiscus, like soybeans, and the rest 3 times in a year. That has resulted in massive increase in terms of agricultural output for our people, especially the farmers around there. I went to Jigawa State. I led a team of the national communications team to Jigawa State, for example. We also went to Kebbi State. We also went to Kano State. We went to Niger State. And we are seeing what is happening there with agriculture. We know that it is very difficult within a year to see the impact that government has put in place to translate into the massive food supply chain that all of us want to have within 1 year. But I can tell you that if these processes continue, the dry season agriculture process that the federal government has put in place continue in the next 1 year and another 1 year before the end of the first term of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Nigeria will not just become self-sufficient in terms of food production, but it will also be a net exporter of food to other countries of the world. Let me give an example of what I saw again in Kebbi State that is worthy of mention. There is a particular company called GB Foods there that went into, in collaboration with the state government there, went into massive production of tomato. I've never seen a thing of like that, agricultural tomato farming like that in the whole of Africa. I think it is the biggest. or one of the biggest in Africa. I can tell you in sub-Saharan Africa, there is no tomato farm like that. And what is instructive to note about that farm is that 70% of those who are participating in the agricultural value chain are largely women. Now, what that has done to us is that it has brought women out of their households onto the farm and now participating in the entire agricultural value chain for them to also have income and support families, to support their loved ones. And that's one part of it. The second part is that even when people are saying that investors are leaving this country, GB Foods, a Spanish conglomerate, came to the northwestern part of this country, invested heavily in agriculture, and because of the support that this government is also providing in conjunction and in partnership with the subnationals, they are not pulling out of the country as some people will want to see, but are also investing massively in agriculture so that, apart from producing this agriculture, the tomato, you put it into going also into manufacturing, because right there on the farm, this tomato is being converted to tomato berries and they're being shipped to Lagos and then they become tomato peps and all that. Now, that's on one level. At another level, one of the quickest areas where the impact of the fuel subsidy removal was felt was in the area of transportation. And immediately, the federal government set aside 100 billion naira initially 100 billion naira for first, the purchase of CNG buses. Second, the purchase of also conversion kits so that people will be able to convert their cars, those using PMS, convert it to CNG. And three, also setting up of conversion centers around the country. Now, this singular step that government has taken has resulted in massive investment of about $50 million, largely by Nigerians, into this CNG initiative. And that will, by the time this investment fully takes off, will ensure that our kids will be taken off the streets. Young people that will hitherto go and get themselves in crime and other very bad behavior will now be taken off the street. Now, this is in addition to the effort that the federal government is also doing in the provision of security in this country. Recall that only about a year ago, it became almost impossible, for example, if you're traveling from Kaduna, for those of you who know from Abuja to say Kaduna in the northern part of the country, Kaduna may be a major hub that you can link up to a lot of other cities in the northern part of the country. It became extremely difficult for people to even fly in the daytime. But now, almost I can say that no one is being stopped on the road in the daytime again. And even if there are maybe one or two opportunistic attempts that people have been making, but even around Abuja, we know that sometime last year, in the suburbs of the capital city, you had criminal elements taking people hostage, kidnapping people, and paying ransom so that people will have to pay money before they get them. Everybody was a bit scared, and with no time. Now, this security situation was not something that happened during the Bola Tinubu administration. It has been with us in the last 10 years or thereabout. But what is instructive about this effort is that compared to what has happened, if you look at what has happened to the Kuriga girl children that were abducted, in Kaduna State, what the difference is that as soon as it happened, government owned up that indeed, yes, indeed, there is a challenge that we have in terms of our security and our children have been abducted. This is when you compare that with what had happened 10 years ago when the Chibok girls were taken. It took government of the day about 2 weeks to even publicly acknowledge that this indeed had actually happened. And even when that acknowledgement did happen, the explanation that government provided was that these were political opponents that were doing that to make the PDP look bad at that. Now, we are not saying that the insecurity situation in the country has actually been solved, but I think that government is on the way to permanently solving this economic situation for the good of all of us. There are still cases of kidnappings here and there, but I can tell you that it has been greatly degraded. Even the IPOP people in the southeast, you hear some opportunistic attacks from time to time, but I can tell you that the activities of IPOR have been generally curtailed even within the southeastern part of this country. And so it is with other parts of the country. Government is working as seriously to ensure that Nigeria is safe, because without safety, without securing lives and property, which, by the way, is the primary responsibility of government, it is impossible for you to have an environment where people can operate and then businesses can thrive and investors can come in. And the so-called FDI, the foreign direct investment that will look up to people like you to bring into this country, will now become a major problem. But with what is happening, you can see that confidence is returning. Yes, you hear situations that say, you know, this company is going and that company is going. Even as some of these companies are going, some of them are also coming in. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment told us only recently that there is a commitment of over $30 billion for investments into this country. And as we speak, you know, the minister is outside this country talking about investment, telling the world about the kind of effort that government is making. You know, recall also the PEBEC policy that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has instituted. PEBEC means Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council. What that seeks to do is to ensure that you can come into, you know, simplifying or easing your process of doing business in this country, simplifying the process of visa, simplifying the process of registration of business names, and also making it possible for businesses that have come in to set up quickly and then go into operation without wasting time and going through so many regulatory bottlenecks. So these are some of the efforts that have been happening. And I can tell you that as we speak, the confidence that the world, the globe entirely is developing in the Nigerian business environment is growing by the day. And I think that once this policy keeps being maintained, then Nigeria will become a hope for businesses around the globe. Mind you, if you juxtapose what is happening now with what has been happening over the years in this country, where investors come into this country, take the aviation sector, for example. You know, airlines were coming in, bringing their investment here, taking their FX back out of this country became a challenge. What situation do we have today? There is no foreign airline that is being owed any money in terms of the foreign exchange backlog that they've had. You know, this led to many of these airlines to either close shop or relocate or reduce their services in and out of this country. So these are some of the things. It's impossible within this time frame to tell you that everything about government is doing to ensure that meaningful life returns to Nigeria, and hope also is rebuilt for our people. By the way, it is the desire of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to return hope to Nigerians, and this is exactly what he's doing. Some of these decisions, like the president himself has always said, has been extremely tough. I mean, you can have a situation where your environment was unsafe, your economy was not growing in the way that it should. You know, people were becoming less confident in your economy. You can have that kind of situation where you expect prosperity to happen in your country. So these tough decisions that are being taken by Mr. President is to return that hope to Nigerians and friends of Nigeria and those who want to also do business with Nigeria. And in that regard, he has been the chief marketer of this country, going around the globe, you know, ensuring that investors come and assuring them that Nigeria is now, to a very large extent, more convenient for businesses to thrive. And in one of such situations, he has even asked the world to ensure that whoever acts for bribes or for corruption in the process of setting up businesses, the person should be brought to his attention or to the attention of the regulatory authority, so that that process can be cleaned up. Because there's no country that will allow corruption to be in the front burner and expect the kind of growth that is so desired to happen. Now, this, of course, in addition to so many other sectors in education, recall what the president has done. A lot of first in this administration. Look at what the president has done in the education sector, for example, ensuring that no child, and the president has said that, and you know, parents are already seeing that, because the process of getting students to obtain loans to pursue their education has already begun. The president's desire is that no child that is a Nigerian that is qualified to go to school will be left out of the school system simply because his parent or guardian is unable to raise the school fees for him to go to school. This is very, very instructive. I think for the first time, we're having this kind of revolutionary approach to solving the problem of education. And just listen to the Minister of Education very recently. And you say he's opening that space up so that it is not only government funding that will go into education. He's also inviting several other bodies, the international community, investors from within and outside this country, come and put into education, because there's this realization that it is not just for government alone to carry the burden of education again. What government will continue to do is to ensure that an enabling environment is created, the right policies are put in place for people to set up educational institutions or to support the educational institutions that are already in existence, and ensure that whatever is available for them, will be taken there. I don't know whether I'm going too far. Maybe I will have to pause and then talk to you, or you want me to continue to engage. I'm ready to do that.
Your Honorable Minister, thank you so very much for that extensive elaboration on the workings of the inner workings of the government. I just enjoyed listening to you. I almost forgot I'm the chief host. So thank you so very much for being so upfront and being so frank and open about the whole thing. I think you've said a lot, and I believe that not just me, but every other person who has been on this platform today has been enlightened as to I mean, if there's anyone who is in doubt of how much this government has been doing in the last 12 months, I think what you've just elaborated upon now has I believe broadened our horizon and made many of us to have an insight as to how much the government is doing. However, we have a couple of questions that has been thrown to us before you came by some members who are eager to hear from you, because like I've made it clear to everybody that today we have a PR guru as Minister of Information, and I believe that he will do justice to every question that is thrown at him. So we have some questions that has been asked before you came. I will yield the floor to my co-host, Honorable Udeme Ukpe, to go through those first. Perhaps maybe by the time you're done with that, we still got some more people who want to ask questions. So then we can go to the floor and ask and yield the floor for them to ask their questions. But let's deal with the questions that we've already had on our table before you came. Honorable Udeme, you have the floor now.
Thank you, our chief host, Honorable J.K. Adibola, and thank you again, Your Excellency, for that. For those, in fact, on the side of our chief host, I was really blown away, and I'm like, wow, I was really, really, really blown away, Your Excellency. Thank you so much for those enlightenment, in all of how you've taken time to give us step by step, progress of the renewed hope agenda and what the presidency, the government, and indeed your ministry is doing in terms of making the lives of Nigeria and Nigerians in Nigeria and in the diaspora even better, bringing in investment even into Nigeria, and know that with all of these, prosperity is definitely a bigger part of this success for all Nigerians. Before you joined, we had one or two questions that was thrown, and the questions I would say is centered to your ministry, the Ministry of Information and National Orientation. One of the questions from Engineer Bola Babarinde, it was concerned about the National Orientation Agency. Paraphrasing what he gave a good outcome of outline of what his concerns there, but paraphrasing is asking that how do the National Orientation Agency go from dissemination of information to change of the mindset and behaviors of Nigerians, like educating about, for instance, law and order. He was giving an example of, where in Ikorodu somewhere where there is an association of Yahoo parents, in quotes. How do the National Orientation Agency change this kind of mindset? And the other question really is from Madam Enita Day. In fact, it links to what you have rightly, given us in terms of, what the Renewed Hope Agenda, the ministry and the government has been doing in terms of, giving us a really good, befitting government. And what she is focused on is, in that question is, again, the barrier in that communication, as what we have discussed, for instance, now that not a lot of people would have access to these kind of information that you have given us today. Then the question is then how, do other people, Nigerians in Nigeria, Nigerians in the diaspora, get this information? Of course, this conference that we're doing is one of the ways, in fact, is one of the big ways that Nigerians in Nigeria and in the diaspora have these kinds of information, what the government is doing. But, looking at the day-to-day people, the market women, the artisans, and every other person, how do they get this information? Thank you.
Thank you very much, and the Chief Host, Honorable Adebola, and the Honorable for your kind words. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let me go straight to the questions. You talked about the question from Engineer Babari there, I believe, talking about the National Orientation Agency and how they will change mindset. Let me go back a little. Recall that the President, from the very beginning, changed the name of Ministry of Information to Ministry of Information and National Orientation. Now, what that is doing is that it is placing emphasis on the national orientation part of it. Of course, national orientation is not a new agency. It has always been there. And I recall that about a week or two ago, when the President was having an anniversary, the June 12 dinner, democracy dinner. And one of the things that he said at that dinner was that he would do everything possible to ensure that he supports the national reorientation of Nigerians. Because even if you build all the roads, even if you do all the infrastructure, even if you do all the investment you want to do in the health sector, in education and agriculture, without the necessary mindset, there's going to be a problem. And I think that the President got it right by putting the National Orientation Agency in the front burner. I know that it's still work in progress. But let me say that in Abuja, for example, and it didn't just start now, even the previous administration, when you even fix street lights, as simple as fixing of street lights, people go in the night and remove those people. In fact, in the past, they were only removing the heads. Now they even remove the poles. How daring this could be. I mean, it's so impossible to imagine. The manholes, if you go outside my house, for example, now, the manholes, the cover, the metallic cover that are there on the manholes, in the night, the so-called Mebola and other criminal gangs come to remove these manholes. I know people who have been injured by just stepping, unknowingly into this manhole that have been created so that you can have a smooth passage. I know cars whose tires have gone bad as a result of that. Now, I'm giving you just simple examples how Nigerians think. I mean, how would someone, a street light has been erected, how would someone, if there's no problem with the way he views everything that government is doing, you just go and remove simple street light that is being put for you and for others so that the street can be lightened up, so that criminal elements can be taken off the street. Or, a cover that has been done on the manhole so that you can pass safely there. People will remove this thing, go back and sell and come back, to the extent that in Abuja, I'm using Abuja, for example. Even if you put all the street lights, even if in my street now, if you put the street light and you don't put one or two security men on the street to even guard these street lights in the night, by tomorrow morning, these street lights are gone. I mean, what kind of behavior could that be? How can that be a government problem, for example? The issue of mindset, we need reorientation. We need people to look at this country once again, recover our senses, and believe that this country belongs to all of us. If you accuse or criticize government from now for the next 1,000 years, and this mindset, the attitude of Nigerians is not changed, if for example, once government makes a pronouncement now today that there's likely to be a shift in the price of petroleum product, I assure you that every filling station in Abuja will close shop tonight. Every shop. Everything that government is doing. And then when you provide fertilizers, elites like us will go and fake farms, create farms in files, create farms in their bags because they have access to those who will do this assessment, come here and collect fertilizers that are meant for real farmers and go back and sell these fertilizers. As something as symbolic as our national flag. How many homes in this country, how many public buildings are flying our flags in the right size, in the right dimension, in the right colors? Even the banks that used to be in the forefront of displaying these flags, because perhaps we have taken our eye off the national orientation and our symbols of our collective existence. People have moved away from that. So I think the first thing is that there's a huge work that the National Orientation Agency, under my supervision, will have to do. And I can tell you that that work has already begun. In the first place, the Director General of National Orientation Agency, Mr. Larry Issa Oni, has already come up with the National Values Charter, which I set up. There was a major committee that was set up to look at our value charter, to look at the engagement between Nigerians and its citizens. Why is it, for example, if you give birth to a child and the child begins to grow up, he's 4 years, 5 years old, how does he think about Nigeria? What is Nigeria to him? What does he expect Nigeria to do to him? I think we need to go, because in everything in life, a human being is essentially a very selfish person. Every human being, has, his focus is on self first before anything. So what happens? How do you mold a new entrant, a child, somebody who has been born into this country? What do you tell that child what do you tell him in such a way that he will believe that there's a country called Nigeria for him to respect? And then in turn, you now expect him also to give back to Nigeria. So we thought that we have lost focus in terms of defining who we are as a nation, what we want to be, what is this average Nigerian expected to be. If you meet a Nigerian anywhere, what are those values that you think he should exhibit first and foremost? These things don't just happen by accident. I've been to airports in America where, bodies of their fallen heroes have come from their external wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and other places. And you see everyone almost standing, in attention, waiting for this, just coffins, not. And you see the respect that the Americans, for example, are giving to those who have paid supreme price. Now, every Nigerian is looking at that and saying, okay, if a Nigerian is killed in battle, do we reciprocate that? What kind of value do we place on the human life? So for you to have someone, a Nigerian, to believe in his country, that Nigeria also needs to know that this country is also there for him. Now, we need to bring that back. This values charter aims to re-establish the connection between citizen and country in this nation. And this is the beginning. And I think that National Orientation Agency has started. We know that there's a problem of funding. The National Orientation Agency is present in over 800 locations around this country. But what kind of presence is there? I think we need to revisit that. I'm happy that the president is taking on this and ensuring that the national orientation is brought back to front burner. I can tell you that there's work in progress on that people are not seeing at this level, but very soon will manifest because a lot of work needed to be done. A lot of experts were called in. We have looked at this. I mean, young people, women, girls, boys, the older people, the business class, the clergy, all of them have been brought together and we have brainstormed extensively and they have produced a document which Mr. President will unveil anytime soon to give us that necessary direction for people to even know where they need to go as citizens of their country. Countries are not built by ghosts. They are built by people who occupy this country. And we don't expect someone to leave his country to come here, to come and establish a good society for all of us. We all travel around the world. We see what happens there. We all want the good life that happens in other parts of this country. Why don't we have that here? What is corruption doing in our life? If you take something that you know yourself you don't need, you yourself, you go and carry billions of, you're not a businessman. You have never invested in anything. You just have access to the public treasury. And then you go and carry billions of naira. Where are you going, for goodness sake? Is that not madness? There must be some kind of reorientation that should happen. And very recently, I had a course to talk to the EFCC. I was invited to commission the FM station of the Economic and Financial Crime. One of the things that I said there is that I think, and I'm happy that the chairman of the EFCC is also looking at it in that direction, that instead of us placing emphasis on somebody to do crime and then you go there and arrest him and put him behind jail, why don't we make it impossible for people to even have access or to even think about stealing this money in the first instance? I think that is the way to go. So it's a tall order. I don't sit here and pretend that this is something that I can solve or my ministry can solve overnight. But I think the building blocks can begin to be put in place for people to now see the direction to go. It may not even happen completely in this generation, but I think that we can lay the foundation, a solid foundation. What the Americans and the Europeans are doing today is actually for their world of tomorrow. What they are enjoying today has already been put in place for them by people who came after them. I think we can borrow from that. You don't have to be, if you plant a tree today, you may not be the one to enjoy the shade of that tree or the fruits that that tree bears. But I think we all have this collective responsibility to ensure that this country is built once again by cooperating with government. And by the way, the difference this time around in this national orientation drive towards having good citizens and good country is not government-centered. The efforts that were done in the past is that emphasis is being put in those who are in authority or the government of the day. We're changing that. What we are doing is that we are building a system that is going to outlive this administration and that is actually not just owned by this administration, but is owned by everyone around this country, because we need that to happen. If you don't like the face of the president, it is within your right to do so. But you should like your country. You should also know that you have a freedom, but that freedom also ends where another person's own begin. So it is our collective responsibility to all of us to come together. Forget about who is even the president for a moment. Think about your country. Think about what you think you need to take out of your country. And if you know that there's something you want to take out of your country, then there's also something should tell you that you also have to give back before you take back. Why are people happily paying taxes elsewhere? Why? Why is it a corruption? Not that it doesn't exist in other advanced plans, but why is it impossible for one person to just go in and take billions of? We are here in this country where the Accountant General of the Federation went to court over 80 billion naira, for goodness sake. 80 billion. If you wanted to do business, you should have started business. Why are you going to join civil service? At the end of your career, you are close to 60 years or about 60 years, we are taking 80 billion to take to where? This is the kind of mindset that I think all of us need to come together to change. And I appreciate the comment by Engineer Baba Rinde about doing that and what we are doing. And very instructive, you mentioned something about the the Yahoo parents of Ikorodu, Ikorodu parents also coming together to set up you can see how this has gone so down. In the past, just commit an offense in the examination hall 30, 40 years ago. In fact, nobody will wait for your father to discipline you. Do something that is bad on your street. Nobody waits for your father to come. And your father will thank whoever disciplined you before he even arrived. Where have our values gone? Now you see parents aiding and abetting examination malpractice. We can't continue in this direction and expect to have a productive nation. I think this change of attitude will have to occur, and there's a consciousness already that is there. And I want to tell you that government is already moving in that direction. The building blocks, the foundation is already being laid. And I believe that in the next weeks and months to come, you see the effort that is already being put there for us to have that. And we're all in agreement, by the way. Wherever I go and I speak, we are all in agreement. Nobody is saying that we don't need national orientation. There's nobody, I've not had one voice. So we're all in agreement. So if we're in agreement, where is that collective desire? Where is that direction that all of us need to go to achieve that? I think we need to establish that and go in that direction. I've acknowledged that, yes, it's work in progress. Don't expect a miracle to happen overnight. This didn't happen overnight. It will take some time, but I think that it is important that we start, and we're already getting started. This is for, and then there is Madam Elizade talking about the need to have information. I'm glad one of the reasons why I accepted to quickly come on this platform, despite the extremely very tight schedule. I'm part of the team finance, and myself, the group managing director of the new NMPC, and the management of that corporation coming together to see the effort of government in its desire to provide gas for this part. We were in Kaduna yesterday. We're there. One of the reasons why I stepped back was because of this, so that we can have this done. I attended a couple of other meetings, for that. So this platform is one of such. I think that's why I started by saying you are doing an incredibly wonderful job, but we need to do more. We need to do more as a ministry. I am personally not yet satisfied. But what I've ensured is that for my tenure, throughout my tenure as Minister of Information and National Orientation, I have a program revolving around 5 key pillars. The first one is that trust has to return to this public communication space. We need to do that. The era should go away where anytime a government official comes to speak on what government is doing, what you hear is hisses, or sometimes they even off the phone, what is this man saying again? But for that to even occur, people need to know that what you are telling them is the absolute truth. You can have challenges. I mean, navigating through information or communication is not an easy thing. Sometimes it's very difficult to say certain things, but I think they can be said positively in a way and manner that endangers trust, even if there are problems. And that's what I seek to do. And I will continue to uphold and maintain that throughout my tenure, by God willing, as Minister of Information and National Orientation. This in addition to, of course, so many other efforts that we're making. I'm sure there are other questions. Let me not take too much time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. In fact, when you mentioned that you are happy with what we are doing, that put, in fact, I had butterflies in my tummy, because, that gives us, that enthusiasm, to be able to do more of these. If I have my way, I would have just said, Your Excellency, just teach us, just give us this information, because what you have given us today is mind-blowing, sir. Personally, I've taken something out of today's session, and that is it is a challenge for me. It starts with me. If we can lay the foundation and build our country, Nigeria, for this generation and for the next generation. That has resonated with me, and I believe even the viewers, people that are watching online on Facebook, where Ben TV is streaming live, I think they too will now be determined to say, right, it starts with me. And I just want to say thank you for that. Thank you for giving us that, to something to steer us up into that direction. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. I would be taking a few questions, if you don't mind, and then I'll hand over to our chief host, JK Adebola. I would please, when we ask our questions, let us focus on the topic for today, which is overcoming challenges and delivering on the renewed hope agenda. Please let us be mindful of that. Let us focus our questions on the topic for today. I would call in that sequence, I will call Ayodeji Bakare, Dr. Mo, and Bola Babarinde in that order. Ask your questions to our minister, and our chief host will take over. Thank you so much.
Before the
good morning.
I just need to remind everyone that's been given the floor to speak now that you have 2 minutes. 2 minutes within which to make your point, and you have the floor now. Let us know who you are, where you're calling from, and get your video on. Thank you very much. Ayodeji Bakare, you have the floor now.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Minister.
Your video is not on.
No, the video cannot come on. I tried to bring it on. It's not coming on, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah. So straight to the point. The big behemoth here is inflation that's affecting us in Nigeria. With food inflation at over 40% and consumer price index inflation, CPI, at about 34%. Now, I'm just going to make comments here. Firstly, I would suggest that there is an aggressive campaign towards all Nigerians becoming farmers. And the Nigeria of today, people are greedy. People want fast money and quick results. I think we should use the carrot and stick approach such that we tell people the benefits of going into farming and how that can enrich their lives. So that needs to be dangled in front of people. So that is the incentive. Like, hey, it is very profitable to go into farming, because by my calculations, if we bring down that food inflation, bring down that food inflation or prices of food, we'll see that our consumer price index inflation or core inflation would go down by maybe 60–70%. So we're going to get into, we could even get into single digit numbers. That is the first one. The second one is as regards transportation. Transportation is also part of the inflation issue. We need to have a model in place to calculate transportation prices when maybe cost of fuel is increased or whatever it is. We look at profit margin, we look at cost of running these buses through gasoline and all of that, and also cost of maintenance, and work with these people in parks and garages and all of that, so that that itself will reduce the pressure on inflation. Last but not least, this is a very big suggestion, and I want to also link this to the Ministry of Education also. There needs to be a program on podcasting and journalism, podcasting and blogging. We need to look for some sort of certification or curriculum in our universities, in our polytechnics, in our tertiary education, so even if it's a 6-month to a year program, because we are getting into a new era where these people are playing key roles in disseminating information. So we need to have some form of training, because when you look at people that are disseminating information in Nigeria through blogging and through this podcasting, they know little to nothing about the goings on. These are people that cannot even speak when people are even speaking. They're maybe bottom of the bar respectfully in schools, and that they have access to this social media and disseminating information. So I would suggest to the Ministry of Information, the NBC, and the Ministry of Education, there needs to be a new curriculum, maybe in a mass communications department in universities, and or some sort of programming and certification that before you get on doing your blogging or your vlogging or your, because journalists, they have their own training already. That is the ones on our regular print media and TV media and all. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the people that are directly disseminating information to this new media. This is new media, and we need to really focus on that. So those are my 3 things for now.
Thank you so very much. I think your 2 minutes is up. So next is Dr. Emo. You have 2 minutes. Please introduce yourself, where you're calling from, and put your video on. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister Alhaji Idris. That is very, very commendable. I see that, most people are kind of thinking about how to drive the information to the people. So I'm going to make a suggestion, okay? I'm calling for United States, okay? Number one, you can make this, this information, this national orientation value, make it part of the curriculum for the schools, from secondary school, from primary school, secondary school to university. Let it be part of this education every semester. Each person will take it, okay? That will make it very simple. It's not going to cost you too much money and stuff like that, okay? I have been involved in a government here. I have been in a committee that made a policy for the government of Texas, okay? So when you make a policy, you drive it home so that people can know about that. Also, I'm suggesting, having a national orientation, center in every state, if not every local government, where people can get brief, explanation about all these things you're doing, because everything that we are doing is so great, but people are not abreast for that. So if you can have all these structural check-off things in place, people will get acquainted about what's going on, especially in the part of education, so people can get educated from primary school. It doesn't have to be from secondary school or what you read in the media, so that people can have the culture of discipline, responsibility, and love for the country. It's not so. It's very, very simple. It doesn't have to send anything to anybody. You have the president talk to the education minister and make it very, very fast. It's done, okay? I mean, we are working for for here because we are problem solvers, okay? Some of us that are already, are managing directors here and stuff like that for the government and also for corporation. Being foreigners, they know that we have some ideas. I don't believe in complaining. I believe in solution. So that's all I have to say, if it's okay with you. Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so very much, sir. Next, before we yield the floor to our special guests, let's hear from President Babari once again. Then we yield the floor. Thank you. You have 2 minutes, sir. You're on mute, and get your video on.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Sorry, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. I don't know if it's your microphone or something, or where you are.
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, a bit. Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Go on.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Go on, please.
Okay. Thank you very much.
It's going.
I was saying that
it's gone. Let me. Can you please?
I was saying,
Honorable, can you hear me? If you can hear me, that's interfering with your audio. I will yield the floor to the special guest now. Perhaps I will call you back again. Maybe if you can just change your position, so that we can hear you properly. So let me just yield the floor to the to our special guest now, so that he can answer the other 2 questions that came before you. Thank you very much. But you're free to join again. Just move your position a bit, sir. Thank you. So
thank you. I believe I have the floor now. I believe I have the floor now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. I think that is from Israel Akande, if I'm correct. And he has three questions.
Bakari.
Oh, okay, Bakari, I see. Okay. There are three questions there. One about food inflation. I agree with you that we need to adopt this carrot and stick approach. And indeed, the government did adopt that. Recall that towards the end of last year, when the issue of inflation, food prices going up, a lot of vendors were locking their shops. In some stores in Kano, for example, people will go and buy rice or sorghum or whatever and lock them in a room. In fact, they're not just locking it using padlock now. Some of them even remove the gates or the doors to those facilities and put blocks to cover them up. Now, the whole idea was that they wanted prices to go up so that they can bring up this goods to sell. I think this is bad behavior. I think this also leads to the issue of orientation that we have all been talking about in a while now. So yes, inflation needs to go down. And I'm happy I listened to, I don't know how many of you go to hear from the governor of Central Bank. And he was making this great promise to Nigerians that inflation is actually on its way down, that we have witnessed some leveling now in terms of price stability, and he's expecting that inflation will come. I know that inflation needs to come down for people to plan and to be able to purchase whatever they need. So yes, carrot and stick is important. Those that have done well need to be commended. Those that have also not done well need to be punished, because you can't be rewarding bad behavior all the time. But there's also the issue you talked about, they need to go to farming. I think that farming is becoming attractive. One of the major problems is this insecurity that is being solved now. And I have a sense that for as long as this government continues to push these criminal elements out of our farms to allow farmers to actually cultivate their farms, we'll reach a level where there will be sufficiency in terms of, because our land is so fertile. We have everything that it takes to produce anything. I'm from Niger State. You can virtually grow anything you want to grow in that state, almost everywhere. But there are about 3 or 4 local governments that is really very problematic because of the bandits, because of the topography of the place. It's easy for bandits to go and hide there and perpetrate their nefarious activities. In contrast to a state like Jigawa, for example, the governor, I was there with the team of the National Communication, and the governor told us that they don't have a single bandit operating there. So everybody is going to farm. And the young people who hitherto come to Abuja, go to Lagos to search for livelihood, are actually returning, because those that they left behind are making more money, engaging in the agricultural value chain there. So for as long as we continue to invest in agriculture, I know that inflation itself will be controlled. I know that insecurity will be brought down. And I know that prosperity will return to people because there will be more money in the pockets of Nigeria. So yes, I agree with you entirely in that regard. You mentioned the issue of transportation. I think I mentioned in my conversation earlier that government is putting a lot of money in gas. It wasn't started by this administration, but President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has insisted that the AKK gas project, for example, the Ajakuta Kaduna Kano, is going to put gas. It's almost 90% completed. I was there with the group managing director of the group chief executive officer of NNPC Limited and his management. I was there with the Minister of State Gas. I was there with the Minister of Finance and the coordinating Minister of the Economy only yesterday, less than 24 hours ago. If you see what is there, it's mind-blowing. And I can tell you that by the time that project is concluded, all the industries along that corridor, all the vehicles along that corridor will have no problem, because you will need to spend only 1/3 of what you spend on PMS to either put fuel in your car or power your generators, or you put into agriculture. The deputy governor of Kaduna State, who represented the governor yesterday, the woman yesterday said they can't wait for this to happen. And the completion time is around the corner. It is the first quarter of 2025. It started only about 4 years ago. With all the challenges, the insecurity, they've still forged on. You need to see what they are doing. Gas pipeline going under rivers, coming out along that corridor. It's about 600+ kilometers from Ajakuta running to Kano. By the time it is done, we have excess gas supply. In fact, we don't even have the ability for that domestic consumption. meaning that only 50% of it can actually be consumed. We have enough gas for the next 10, 20 years for whatever kind of industry that will come up there. So transportation will become cheaper. Even now, the investment that government has done in CNG, the 100 billion naira that I told you about that has been put there, is to purchase the CNG buses, which is already being done, is to invest in conversion center, which is already being done, is to invest in this conversion kits, which is already being done. Now, some of these things are not off-the-shelf approach, purchases that you can just go and just buy, like you go to the market and buy something. It takes a little while. And this is, I think, the incubation period that we are seeing. By the end of this year, I can imagine that, a bulk of the vehicles running, especially the public transportation system, the cost will crash down. And once the cost crashes down, it will also impact on the prices of food and other commodities. There's something very important that Bakari mentioned, and I am happy that he brought that up. The issue of a new curriculum era, especially in those who want to be to engage in podcasting and also in blogging. I think this is absolutely critical, and you've also given me something to really think about deeply. It's not as if we have not been thinking about it, but hearing it from people, that people are also sharing this kind of thought will make us to. But it's not for Ministry of Information and National Education alone to handle. And like you largely say, the Ministry of Education needs to be involved. Ministry of Science and Technology and others all will need to come together to fashion out a new curriculum for our young people. Some of the curriculum we practice are actually old now, very old. For example, someone, let me tie to the second part of the question. They say, we are not teaching civic again. 40 years ago, almost all of you are 40 years ago, also learned civics in your schools. What happened? 30, 40 years ago, almost all of us, compulsorily were reading history. What is happening now? We seem to forget where we are coming from. And if you forget where you are coming from, you are certainly going to be lost in where you are going. And so I think we need to recover our senses. Part of what the National Orientation Agency is doing is also to do that, to help us to rediscover ourselves, go back to those old traditions that will enable us to rediscover ourselves as Nigerians, and not just Nigerians, as patriotic Nigerians for the good of our country. And like I've told you, the building blocks have already been laid down there, and we're going to go there. I can agree with you more about the need to have podcasters and bloggers having some form of training. This will greatly reduce even the instances of fake news that we are seeing. Everybody now takes a phone and just posts whatever he wants, as if it is his right to incite people to violence. You cannot have freedom if that freedom does not come with responsibility. I've always said that. Yes, we are advocates. Social media has come to stay with us. All these new methods of communicating are here. There's nothing anybody can do about it. We need to deepen it, but we also need to redefine it, to make it consistent with who we want to be as a nation. I think that all of us will need to come together to agree on that. And like I've always said, even the media, the greatest victims of fake news, misinformation, disinformation, is actually the media itself. So if we don't come together to solve this problem, then this problem will continue to be there for all of us, and it will consume us in no time. You can imagine somebody just sitting down and saying, I only recently somebody said, someone posted something on the social media, went and edited a video just because you feel you don't like who is the president of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and said that he went to South Africa and that he was not. What is that? Everyone saw that, yes, the president actually did great with the president of South Africa. What would you achieve by saying that? Yes, I know that people are saying the president was in the second row. We can have debates about that. But to say that the president is being snubbed, I think that is entirely untrue, and that is uncharitable, that is unpatriotic, that cannot serve to bring us together as a nation. I think we need to change our mindset in that direction. So yes, I agree with that completely. We need this new set of curriculum to enable young people especially to know how to podcast, to also know how to blog. We need to do that because we can't remove it from our lives, so we need to get it better, and I can't agree more with that. There's a comment from, I didn't hear the name, is it Dr. Moore, Dr. Ebo, or something from the US, talking about National Orientation Agency having putting NOIR back in the curriculum, this values charter and all that. As if you are thinking what the NOA and the Ministry of Information is thinking. And they are doing just that. They are advocating for that right now as we speak. We need to really bring our national values charter back, issues of orientation back into our curriculum. It's absolutely necessary. And I thank you for that, for also seeing. And then you mentioned something about National Orientation Agency to be part in all the country. The truth of the matter, Doctor, is that the NOA is actually in every local government, 774 in this country. What we need to do is to make those offices functional. If you see how the National Orientation Agency is struggling to even operate these offices, in some of these offices, you only have one officer or two officers at most. I mean, this is not acceptable. If we want to change our mindset, if we really want to bring back national orientation to the front burner, we need to do something about that. I can't agree more with that. And I want to thank you, because all the comments that I've been hearing as part of this conversation are actually comments about nation building. I've not had one person made a comment, a political comment here. And I think that this is the way to go. Yes, politics will have to be there. It is part of our lives. But let us talk as Nigerians. Let us temporarily even forget about who we like or who we don't like, who we believe in or who we don't believe in. Let us believe and focus on this country and see whether that can help us to reshape our nation. Because at the end of the day, it is a country for all of us to keep. And we have to keep it for the benefit of not just our children, but the generation that will come after them. I thank you for all these questions that you have asked.
Thank you so very much, your Honorable Minister. Our time is fast spent now, so we'll only be taking one call. But before then, your Honorable Minister, you touched on something at the last batch of your question now, which touched my heart too, because you just hit the nail on the head as to what this platform is for, why we created it in the first place, which is like I've always said, to bridge the gap between the leaders and Nigerians. And as you've seen, everybody has commented here today are commenting on the premise that they want a country that works for everybody. We are apolitical. Yes, of course, you can't do without politics. But then sometimes when you want to talk seriously about nation building, we have to leave politics aside and talk seriously with each other. And I think this conference is so engaging, like every other one's before it. But this one is even more so, because there are certain things that you've said now, which I believe gels with the thought process of so many people, so many of the participants here, which is the reason why everybody was coming. You can see no criticism, even where there are criticisms, they come with suggestions, especially with from the first speaker earlier on. Because for me, I believe critics are people who knows the price of everything, but knows the value of nothing. Because if you're going to criticize, by God, come with a solution. Because for you to know that something is bad, you must know the solution. So you just coming up to say something is bad without bringing solution, then to me that is just playing to the gallery. Let me go back to the floor now. I said I will only take one more question, but then Honorable Balide, whom we short-circuited for obvious reasons earlier, has just come back now. So we're just going to take those two questions, and we will not take any more questions after that, so that we will not belabor our special guest of honor. Don't forget, he came here directly from a project, and he's probably going back to another one now. So let's just keep it at that. So we have we'll have next Babao Lowo OFTGR, which will be followed by Bola Babanide. So please, other people should, we won't be taking any more questions after these two. If you have anything you want to throw to the chief host, special guest, please go put it into, pass it through our email, and I can guarantee you that we'll forward it to the Honorable Minister. So we have two more. We'll just take two more. Oh, sorry, the other man has dropped off. So now I think Honorable Babanide now has the floor. Honorable Babanide, you have the floor. Thank you, sir. Hello. I thought Baba Olowo dropped off.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Oh, good evening.
Who do we have now?
Yeah, Baba Olowo. Yeah, is he talking now?
I thought he dropped off. He was meant to be the first person to speak, and it looks like even Honorable Babajide too has dropped off. Okay, both of them has dropped off. Reluctantly, let me take Michael Kehinde. No more questions, please. Don't put your hands off. No more questions. Michael Kehinde, you have the floor now. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Michael Kehinde, and I'm calling from Chicago.
Thank you.
I'm trying to turn my video on. I know that's one of the rules here, but it's not letting me. My name is Michael.
Go ahead.
My name is Michael Kehinde. I'm calling from Chicago, USA. And my question, I want to first and foremost commend everybody, and more importantly, I want to commend the Honorable Minister for taking time to speak with the constituents, because one of the hallmark of a good leader is the confidence and ability to speak with the people without fear and express what they want to do and what they are doing. So I want to commend the Honorable Minister for doing that so eloquently. My question is centered about orientation. And what I want to say is, first and foremost, I think the National Youth Service Corps says that about 4.6 million Nigerians have passed through the system since its inception in 1973. That is a good chunk of people that could have had the orientation for the Nigerian project. And I think maybe my question would be, how is that incorporated into the Honorable Minister's agenda today, incorporating all these 4.6 million, or going forward, are they incorporating the NYSC into the system of the orientation into the Nigerian project? Maybe the second part of my question, of my comment, will be just a comment, and the comment is about leadership. I think we can talk about orientation, but I think the biggest orientation is example from our leaders. And I want to ask our Honorable Minister, maybe one of the things that we want to see is also leadership showing that they are committed to the Nigerian project in every way, and way they can show it, in the way they present themselves, in the way they manage their portfolios. We want to see that they are actually committed to it. That will help the Nigerian masses to follow suit. So,
oh, sorry about that. I think it means that the 2 minutes we gave you is up. So that sums up the question and answer session for today. So I'll yield the floor to our Honorable Minister to answer those questions.
Thank you very much. I hope that Mike or Kerinde is from Chicago. I just hope that he's listening. Sorry that he didn't complete his comments there. The first comment he made, or observation he made, is about the National Orientation Agency and how the 4.6 million people that have passed through the NYSC scheme can actually key in. These are his numbers. I need to check that up. But even when he said 4%, I say, wow, so many of them have actually passed through the national youth. But of course, to think about the fact that it started in 1973 is a long time, so it's also possible that is very correct. The National Orientation Agency indeed is looking at the role that the NYC can actually play. I recall that NYC, one of the reasons why General Gawan at that time brought about the NYC was actually for that, to forge national unity. Unity is part of the core pillars of this orientation we are talking about. And I do hope now things have gotten a little, moved from bad to worse, I should say, in terms of forging national unity through the NYSC. It has reached a level where, for those of us who went through the NYSC system many, many years ago, over 3 decades ago, I mean, if you're posted from Sokoto, for example, to Anambra, you are so happy to go there. When I went, I'll start this example myself. I schooled in Sokoto first. My first degree was in the University of Sokoto then, now Usman Danfodio University. I went there, and when I went to check, I was longing. I'd never been to the eastern part of the country. And I was praying and hoping that I'll be posted, because I mean, this issue of insecurity and all these bandits and people were laying, they were not there. So, and I went and I saw from the notice board that I was posted to the same Sokoto where I graduated. I recall, this was in 1987. I recall that I went and found a place and started crying. I was crying because I was not I didn't get the opportunity to go to the southeast or to the southwest to go, or to the south to go and do NYSC. And I was crying and I was saying, I schooled in Sokoto. How come I was now posted back to Sokoto to NYSC? What was I going to learn? I was crying as a young man. I was crying really seriously, because all my friends were posted to either Anambra or Ekiti or Cross River or wherever. And I was the only person that was kept there. It was later that I got to know that there was a reason why I actually found myself in Sokoto. It's a discussion for another time. But that was the time, that was the thinking, that was the feeling, that was the enthusiasm that all of us had. You wanted to go where you didn't know. But now, as parents, if my own child is posted to Bayelsa now, I probably wouldn't think the way I thought nearly 36 years ago. So it means that something has happened. How many of us even want our children to attend the exact schools that we attended in this country? How many? I mean, one of the pride that parents used to have is to say that your child went to the school that you yourself attended. And they were government schools, and we had everything. It was university, and true to its name, it was actually a universal place of learning. You had the teacher from all parts of the world coming to teach you. You had the Nigerian teacher from all parts of the country. Now, state governments are setting up universities and are looking for vice chancellors who are from the same community that those universities are set up in. And even when they go and recruit teachers, the state government will say, you are recruiting somebody from Anambra because it's not from Niger. Why? You can't forge unity through that. Why is it that we are all afraid to come together? Why is it getting so bad? Why are we deteriorating? So I think that this is a case for all of us to think about. We need to come back to ourselves. If indeed all of us, and this is what I say, the difference this time around from what the National Orientation Agency is focusing on, the difference this time around is that the focus is not on the administration. The focus is on Nigeria and Nigerians. And unless that is done, Nigerians will not own this up. We sit all together all the time with members of my team and discuss. If we want a buy-in for this, let's bring all Nigerians together. Whether you are in this A party or B party or C party, whether you are from zone A or zone B or zone C, whatever part of this country we need to belong, we need to. It is the role of the National Orientation Agency to break down these barriers, to break down these challenges, and all of us will think as Nigerians for us to forge ahead. So I can tell you that the National Orientation Agency is already working in that direction to see how the NYSC can fit into, or the National Orientation Agency can take its message to the National Youth Service Scheme, because this is one symbol that is designed and that has lived all this administration to forge unity in this country. We shouldn't allow it to die. We shouldn't ask parents to say you want your child to go to NYSC where you are born. What is he learning? It's an exploration. Let him go. Allow your children to go to wherever they are posted to. But we also have a duty as a nation to ensure that these children are also protected. Because even for me as a parent, I wouldn't want my child to go to a location where I feel that I'll be thinking about him every morning. So it's a collective job that all of us would need to have. It's not just for government alone. Yes, government has a key role to play there, especially in ensuring that every child posted is guaranteed of his safety, so that at least the parent will think less of the child going there. But I can tell you that the president is working in that direction. He has always been talking about that. We need to be able to secure our country, and we need to also to break down these barriers for us to think as a nation. The second one, I think, is just a comment, and I think it's that of leaders. I mean, the National Orientation Agency will have little to do with that. it will only lead the way. That is talking about leaders leading by example. I think all of us have this collective responsibility. If after this session, for example, and I leave this place and I say I do exactly the opposite of what I said on this platform, then where is the leadership? Leadership has to be shown. All of us will have to come together. I know that national orientation will lead the way, but it's for all of us, in and out of government, whether you like government or not, whichever party is in power, to lead by example. I think it's a universal rule. We all need to, the religion itself that all of us are subscribed to have, taught us that if you have a preacher, you go to the mosque every Friday, or you go to the church every Sunday, and you see after Friday, the imam doing exactly what he told you not to do on Friday, or the pastor or the bishop doing exactly what he told you not to do in the church on Sunday, we can't have the Nigeria of our day. We can't have the country that all of us aspire to have. I think it's a collective responsibility, and all of us have a role to play in that direction. Government will only create that enabling environment for this to happen. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Honorable Minister, for your time. Because despite your tight schedule, you still found a way to come and enlighten us as to the inner workings of them. And not only that, you went the extra mile to ensure that every question that was thrown at you, you did justice to every single one of them. I think that for me is a big plus, and I'm sure that every other person, just like myself, is well enlightened with the elaborate answers that we had from you today. Thank you ever so much. I can't thank you enough, because when I heard that you were on a special mission for the presidency, my heart sank. But then what made me to be happy was the promise that you made that no matter what, you'll be here. And guess what? You did exactly as you say, which goes to the point that you just closed with now, that leadership must live by example. Because you told us, no matter what, I give you my word, I'm going to be there. I will be there, even if I'm late. I will be there. And you came, and not just that, you came in full force. And for that, we are very, very grateful. And the fact that you even sent forth some of your directors to come in before you, for me, that you can't ask more from your leadership than that, because that shows that not just leadership by example alone, but leadership that knows its responsibilities and make sure that they do not disappoint on those responsibilities. So for that, we remain eternally grateful to you, sir. Thank you ever so much, and you will always remain in our prayers for a successful tenure. It could be 4 years, it could be 8 years. We would like it to be 8 years, if you ask me. So that will be part of our prayer point, so that we can have you more come again to engage with us. Because trust me, every second that you stayed here, I enjoyed it, and I believe it is the same thing with every single one of us. So thank you ever so much, sir. We really appreciate you. And for those who couldn't ask their questions, apologies from me. It is because we were meant to be here for 2 hours, and we've been here for 2 hours 32 minutes now. So we need to close. So, but like I said, our email address is info at let me have a look. Need to go. You can send your questions to our email at info@renewedhopeglobalconference.com. info@renewedhopeglobalconference.com. We will forward your question to the Honorable Minister, whom, as you all have seen, is a man of his words. You can put your email address there too. I'm sure he will respond to you. Will respond to you directly. So on that note, I wish to say thank you again so very much to our Honorable Minister. Thank you ever so much for being part of this conference. We've enjoyed every minute, and I hope when next we come again, because trust me, with what we've seen here tonight, we will be inviting you over again at some point. And I'm sure with the kind of things that I've seen with you now, I know you will oblige us how many times we come to you. Thank you ever so much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Debola, Honorable Wikwe, Jacob, and all of you there, and Dr. Moore. Thank you very much for for having me. And like you said, we will continue to engage in the interest of our country. Thank you very much. I appreciate this. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. To all our participants, we cannot thank you enough, because you are the people that make that continues to encourage us to do what we do, because without your participation, we probably won't have the fillip to continue to do what we are doing. We do appreciate you for those, especially the fact that we have people joining in from Canada, from America, from Russia, Belarus, Germany, everywhere. They come in to join us every week, every Saturday or Sunday. They come in, and it is because of you that we are here, and we will continue to bridge that gap between our leaders and our Nigerians across the globe. Thank you ever so much. And lastly, let me appreciate my co-hosts who has been helping out. Honorable Ogunseye, Hajia Rekia Bello Abubakar, Udeme Ukwe, Sheung Bayewu, also known as Boyo, and Tosin Olayinka. Thank you ever so much. I've always said it that without you guys, this wouldn't have been possible. Well done for being there. There will be another VVIP that will be coming in next week. It could be Saturday, it could be Sunday. In the next few days, we will be posting the details of our next VVIP. It could be male, it could be female, but I can guarantee you it will be one big shot from this government as well to come and engage with us, so that we can have another perspective to whichever department that they are holding. In the meantime, can Honorable Ogunseye please take charge for a few minutes for me? I just need.
Hello, sir. I think at this time we just need to conclude and give the vote of thanks. And I have the honor to call on Honorable Abib Damagun. I hope he's on the line. Honorable Abib Damagun, can you please unmute and give us the vote of thanks for?
Sorry, before coming, I'm really sorry to interject there. That was why I asked you to step in for me. I've just been told that one of our fathers, the patron of the renewed hope that we all know, has joined us again. He does that sometimes just to surprise us, and he's done it again today. There is no other person than the son himself, Honorable Babatunde Ogala, is on the platform, and we just want to give him another, maybe 2 minutes or 3 for him just to, give us his words of encouragement like he always does. Because every time we have him on here, we are always happy to hear from him. Honorable Ogala, you have the floor now, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, my brother, my learned colleague, Debola. What am I supposed to say? All I can say again, and I say this to the hearing of the Honorable Minister, these are a fantastic crop of people we have on our hands. Like I've said often and often again, for those of us back home who feel the government firsthand, for them in diaspora, they are just simply selfless.
Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir. We need your video on, sir. It's not on, sir. If you don't mind, please, Honorable.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Because I'm in the car.
Thank you so much.
So, Honorable Minister, these are a crop of Nigerians that we must say are really, really those who support this government selflessly. And like has been noted, I am almost practically here all Saturday when they have this diaspora chat. And one thing I can say to you, Honorable Minister, which I hope you will also say to the Commander-in-Chief, Mr. President, is that we have a crop of people here whose expertise, whose knowledge, whose deep sense of patriotism could be very useful to the country and from which you can tap. And I say this with all sense of responsibility. These are a crop of patriotic, well-meaning, knowledgeable Nigerians that are available for the government to help in building our country. Having said that, Honorable Minister, I also say thank you for finding time out of your busy schedule to join us this afternoon. I've patiently listened almost anonymously to your submission. And I must commend your simplicity, your hands-on explanation of your assignment, your deep understanding. And I take away particularly the issue of ethics and what you are doing with the reorientation process. I commend you. And just as I commend you, I will say to you again, the reward for hard work is more work. There's a lot to be done. Like you know, this is one government that some people just are working extremely too hard to see fail. We know you cannot fail. You must not fail. So I also thank you very much for finding time out of your schedule to be here. And hopefully we should be having you, even if it's quarterly, because being the mouthpiece of the government, the information center, we would appreciate if we can have you more often. So by and large, I say thank you all. I also say thank you for giving me the rare honor and privilege to at least add my voice. Again, my name is Babatunde Ogala. I'm a lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria and a honored officer of the Federal Republic. Thank you very much.
Thank you ever so much. It's always a joy to have you amongst us here. And each time you speak, it's always words of wisdom, and we always try to draw from that every now and then. Thank you ever so much, sir. And again, I think what a better way to close a session than to hear from the Grand Commander himself, who every time he speaks to us, he speaks from the depth of his heart, showing gratitude for everything that we are doing. Thank you ever so much, sir. And I wish you and your family long life and prosperity, sir. Thanks a lot, everybody, for all the participants. Thank you ever so much, Dr. Emo from the USA. Thank you for always being there. I notice every week you're always with us, and you always come with incisive comments and incisive questions. Thank you ever so much. Just looking, Tosi Olayinka, thank you ever so much. Lady Anitade, thank you ever so much. Adekunle Oluwole, I see you there. Madam Caroline Adelaku, thank you ever so much. Otumba Ochu, thank you all for being there every now and then. Honorable Kolawole Saidu, thank you so very much. Dr. Aishat Badabia Mila, thank you ever so much for being there. Your support is ever so it means a lot to us. I just have to put it that way. It means a lot to us. Madam Informa Farouk, thank you for being there. Kathy, Victor Benson, all of you, Marvin Ejiro, Israel Okpayemi, all of you, Deborah, Madam Deborah Fatogun, that's my mom. Thank you so very much. We really appreciate you being here. If I don't mention your name, please don't be offended. It's just that it's like I said earlier on, the time is past spent. We're almost 3 hours now on a program that was meant to be for 2 hours. So in the absence of our matron, who is Hajia Rekia Abubakar Bello, who normally does who normally do the closing remarks, we have another. I would call him a brother from another mother, because we are both son of the soil from the north. It's Dr. Damagu. He will now give us the closing remarks. You have the floor now, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Renewed Hope Global Town Hall Virtual Conference, I would like to first thank the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Mohammed Idris, FNIPR, for honoring our invitation despite his tight schedule, responsibilities, and overwhelming commitments of his office. So we sincerely appreciate your presence here, and we are very grateful for the informative deliberation and shedding lights on the activities of the renewed hope agenda of His Excellency, Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So thank you very much. I would also like to thank all participants who join us from various locations across the globe. Thank you very much. And please don't forget to join us next time when we have another special guest. Thank you all. Thank you very much. I remain Habib Damagum. Thank you.
Dr. Damagum, thank you so very much. And thank you once again, all participants. Like I said earlier on, in the next couple of days, we will be posting on social media who our next VVIP is going to be for next week. You can be rest assured that we will be coming up again with somebody high up from within this administration, again, to come and engage with us regarding the inner workings of the government, because, like I said, this platform is meant to bridge the gap between the leadership and the followership, so that we can have a place for us to converge and discuss about our country and the way forward, especially to discuss more about the vision of our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the renewed hope agenda upon which he campaigned. We need to know more about it. We need to know more about what they are doing and what their aspirations are in the next couple of years, so that at least those of us Nigerians will have something to look forward to. So that is the reason why we set up this platform. And it's not easy doing it every week, but with your participation, I'm sure we won't relent in making sure that because information is a very fast-paced thing. So that is why we decided, let's do it every week, so that each time we convert like this, we'll meet with one or two. In the past 3 weeks now, we've had a double portion. We've had two VIPs, one from the top echelon, and the following week we had the young generation. Again, because the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has everybody from all cadres of ages in the government. So that is why we are selecting them, especially, based on whatever age range they are, male, female, or whatever, so that they can come and engage with us. And so far, not a single one of them has disappointed. In fact, the first time the first edition, we had the special advisor to the president who came here on 2 consecutive days, because on the first day we had some network issue, so he promised us he was going to come back the following day, and he did. I'm talking of Ajuri Ngilali. He came twice, and he too did justice to all the questions that was asked of him. So for me, it can only get better. So as this program will continue to evolve. But like I said, for those of you who are here at the beginning, I said we have an email address which we posted on the chat room. We want people to send in their questions before the weekend. As soon as the e-flyer is out and you know who the VVIP is and the topic for the day, please send in your questions so that we'd like to pass these questions on to VVIP, so prior to the conference, so that they will have to deal with all of those first. Then they will go for a question and answer session. Again, thank you so very much. I can't thank you enough. Your presence is always we love the fact that you don't relent in joining us every week. Thank you ever so much. So on this note, I will say good night and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much.